Hello, hello, Leo. I'm Poetic Heretic, and this is your March 2020 Tarot Forecast. I'll be giving you a Celtic Cross reading for the month of March for all Leo people, Sun, Rising, and Moon. See what information and advice and insight we can gain into the month ahead. All right, so without further ado, let us begin. So, we would like a Celtic Cross reading for all Leo individuals, Sun, Rising, and Moon, for the month of March 2020. Let us see what we get. There it is. All right, so for your current outside influences, you got the Hermit. Hey there, Ryan. Would you like to set a reminder for this live stream? Clicks yes. Less than 2 seconds later, Mr. Predator's talking to the tab I'd open. Oh my goodness. we were on the same wavelength, Ryan. We were just like tuned into each other. All right, challenge card, the Two of Cups reversed. But no, seriously, stuff like that happens to me all the time, where like these like bizarre synchronicities. The underlying energy, the Page of Wands. The past, the Nine of Cups reversed. What you hope to achieve, the King of Pentacles reversed. The near future, the Four of Pentacles reversed. Your attitude or position on the situation, the Ace of Wands. The outside force coming in, the Ace of Swords. Ooh, double aces, 2 in a row. Very nice. Your hopes or fears, the Six of Swords. And the final outcome card, the Four of Swords reversed. Okay, very interesting. We've got a number of things going on in this reading. All right, let's dive in. So beginning with your current outside influences, you did indeed get the Hermit card. So this represents everything sort of around you at the beginning of the month. So the Hermit, study, rest, retreat, withdrawal, getting away from things, some fairly obvious meanings. However, it can also be intense analysis, being very perceptive, being knowledgeable, and also gaining knowledge, gaining wisdom, perhaps a seemingly chance encounter with someone who is very wise and who helps expand your own knowledge, teach you something very significant this month. And again, especially around the beginning of the month. So let me sort of scan the rest of the cards here, see if I can identify like what else this might be about or what is most likely here. Well, it's interesting because you begin with this card, a card that often talks about rest and getting away from things, but your final outcome card is talking about a sort of restlessness among potentially other things. So just the theme of rest itself, we can say right off the bat, may be a thing for you this month. Leo, but it's like, even if you're getting away from things early in the month with that Hermit card, by halfway through the month with that Ace of Wands, you're definitely shifting to a different modality, and you're very much action oriented and in the mood to like make things happen. So that'll be interesting. So let us explore that further. For the challenge, you got the Two of Cups, and it is reversed, but let's look at it upright. So when this comes up as the challenge card, it is indeed often talking about love and or a deep friendship or some kind of intense bond with another person being part of your challenge this month. But let's see. Okay, with a couple of these other cards showing up, I'm tempted to say that with the reversal and some of the other cards I'm seeing here, it may even be for some of you that a connection has been severed with someone, and like you're needing to move on. And especially also with this crossing over the Hermit card, like literally a name or word that refers to being alone. And so I hope that isn't the case for too many of you. But nevertheless, that I would say is a significant possibility with this combination of cards. But in a more like sort of spiritual sense, I guess, the Two of Cups showing up as the challenge card could also refer to a need for some kind of integration of two opposing forces, either within yourself or in your environment, perhaps between you and another person or something of this nature. So a couple different possibilities there. I don't know. I mean, it's the Two of Cups, so it's like, it's hard to say that, oh, it's going to manifest in such a negative way, but at the same time, it's showing up as the challenge card and it's crossing over the Hermit. So there may be some emotional difficulties there, perhaps some relationship difficulties, as I mentioned. But even if there are, well, at least things improve somewhat, at least as we go. For the underlying energy, everything forming a foundation for your current situation this month, you got the Page of Wands. So this is like the initial spark of a new idea, a new enthusiasm, something that you're getting excited about. Now, it's just the initial spark. It's just the very beginning. It's not off the ground yet, but it's there. And so it's an interesting contrast to what we just looked at, feeling perhaps some of you abandoned by someone, or in this sort of melancholy, more or less isolated state. There's still this excitement about something new sort of brewing in the background, and that I think we're going to see unfold more and more throughout this month, especially as we get to the Ace of Wands and Ace of Swords that you guys pulled. All right, so for the past and issues you've had to deal with that then lead into the present, you got the Nine of Cups reversed. This card in its reversal does often talk about disappointments and sadness and sorrow, dissatisfaction, especially. So issues surrounding that perhaps many of you have dealt with in the recent past, that then continue on into the month and influence the events of this month. Now, let us also note that we have double nines here. This is our second nine. The Hermit was the first nine. And so your ninth house is activated this month, the house of education and higher learning, the house of spirituality, your beliefs, your ideals, all of that kind of stuff, or any or all of that kind of stuff being activated significantly for you this month. And I would say, especially with the Hermit card for your current outside influences, I feel like a lot of you are probably going to be exploring your ideas and your belief systems this month, and like spirituality and stuff like that. Even things like astrology and tarot itself, our ninth house matters. So interesting stuff there. For what you hope to achieve, you got the King of Pentacles reversed. This is what you're reaching for, what your highest hope is, your highest goal. Yep, looking forward to it. Excellent. Glad I was spot on. So King of Pentacles reversed for what you hope to achieve. This is like wanting to achieve stability, wanting to be able to work hard, to stay diligent, to be determined, that sort of thing, but feeling like you need to overcome a blockage to doing so. And that is, of course, where we see with the reversal. What we saw earlier with like the Two of Cups challenge card crossing over the Hermit card may have left a number of you feeling some level of insecurity, and this card could very well be representing this desire for greater security. And on that note, for the near future, you got the Four of Pentacles reversed. This represents about the first week or two of the month. So Four of Pentacles reversed can manifest as a feeling of a lack of security. You know, upright, he's all safe and secure. You know, the figure in this card, if you want to look at it that way. The reversal is often a feeling of a lack of security, so that could be a challenge. However, on a more positive note, sometimes the Four of Pentacles reverse can indicate letting go of unnecessary rigidity, letting go and being more open to different possibilities. So there's perhaps that to look forward to. For your attitude or position on the situation, about halfway through the month, you got the Ace of Wands. Oh, so the energy shifts, and now you're feeling much more energized, much more vital and alive, much more willing to start something new, to initiate, to go for it, to seize the day. So it's interesting when we consider the Mercury retrograde energy, because that has been showing up in just reading after reading this month and last month, actually, funny enough. It's interesting how Mercury goes direct, I believe, around the middle of the month. And so when it goes direct, everyone is going to be feeling more or less like a willingness to move forward. I would say you especially, Leo, with getting this Ace of Wands, for how you're feeling right around the middle of the month when Mercury goes direct, are going to be feeling that forward movement, that forward motion. You'll be ready to start new things, and that, of course, would be the perfect time when Mercury is moving direct, especially once it leaves its shadow, though that won't be until late March, early April. I'd have to look it up, but around that time period. Moving out of shelter in March. Excellent. Yeah. Well, that does look like what we have here. It's like you start out with the Hermit card, which is like sort of sheltered and isolated and stuff like that. But then gradually there's this movement away from that and sort of out into the world much more. So for the outside force coming in, you got the Ace of Swords. So this is something coming at you, coming towards you. Could be a person, could be a situation. Well, with it being another ace, we have, again, this energy of the new beginning, the powerful new beginning. With the Ace of Swords, it has to do with the element of air, the mental realm. This could be something involving technology. It could be something involving science. It could be something that is involving like intellectual analysis, maybe even connecting back with that Hermit card in some way, as I mentioned. The exploration of ideas and belief systems and stuff like that. This could be someone or something that comes to you this month that is like, I guess, adding on to that, but is really also about a new beginning in and of itself. Because again, this is an ace and it's on the heels of another ace, the Ace of Wands. And so it's like, don't despair if it seems like things in this reading started out on a bit of a negative note or like a sort of sad or disappointing note, because there's definitely a lot more excitement building up as the month goes on, especially those double aces. All right, so for your hopes or fears, you got the Six of Swords. Kind of going back to our Two of Cups challenge card theme, this idea of moving on from the difficult situation, leaving things behind, leaving things in the past that you need to move on from. Now, it's just showing up in your hopes or fears. So it's like saying that you're hoping that you have the ability to do so, the wherewithal to move forward in the way that you need to. Yes, this does very often show up when you need to leave behind a past relationship, when you need to move on from a relationship, but it can also be moving on from other things that are not necessarily having to do with a relationship. All right, so for the final outcome card, how you are concluding the month of March, you got the Four of Swords reversed. So, not going to lie, this card does talk about a sense of restlessness. My gosh, you're spot on. Stop it, LOL. Gee. Why, thank you. I'm glad I'm spot on. I do my best. This card does talk about restlessness, like maybe not getting enough rest, being too involved in either work or maybe your ideas, with it being an air card. So I would really say, Leo, around the end of the month, if you can, try to get more rest, or especially like if you feel like you're overexerting yourself, try to take a time out from things, because I mean, it's like you go from one extreme to the other this month. You start off with the Hermit, which is like getting away from things and being more in a restful state. But then you end with the Four of Swords reverse, which is almost like there's trying to be that restful state, like the card's upright, but the reversal is taking you away from that. And so I would say try not to let things get too out of balance. There's also a risk here of like excess subjectivity, of inner stagnation, of seeing things much too emotionally, and sort of losing your mental clarity and your ability to think things out logically and rationally. So I would say be careful with that. But I'm just going to draw one more card here to get a better idea of how things turn out. Oh boy, it is the one, the only Three of Swords, which is very interesting because this is the card that comes right before, of course, the Four of Swords, and the reversal of the Four of Swords kind of suggests that we go back to this card. Now, this card can indeed refer to difficult stuff involving emotional matters, as the imagery itself suggests. It can indeed refer to worry, trouble, shock, agitation, stress, anxiety, things of this nature. However, it can also refer to the idea in a more positive sense of telling it like it is, being very forthright, saying things that need to be said, speaking regardless of consequence. And so, oh boy, I guess with the reading like this, I could see it manifesting either way for many of you, but I would say it's almost like you're ending the month, and what's sort of stressing you out is that you're realizing that there are some difficult words that need to be said to someone or maybe multiple people. And that's where we get the Three of Swords. But so it's stressing you out. Having to tell it like it is, as necessary as that is, usually people don't want to be there. Like it's an experience you don't want to have to go through most of the time, because it's often a very emotionally charged experience, but nevertheless, we all have to go through it from time to time. So anyway, that's about it, Leo. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great month of March, despite the bit of stress that we see at times in it. Thank you. You are very welcome, Gadgets. Thank you for being here. Feel free to subscribe if you're not already, as I'm always streaming more astrology and tarot-related content. And other than that, thanks again for watching, and have a great day or night wherever you are in the world.